Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining me for the 2021 Boys Tennis Parent Meeting. I'd like to start by introducing our coaching staff. First of all, my name is Dave Ducharme. I'm the varsity coach. At the JV level, we have Bruce Hawkins. Little known fact, he was a former tennis model. He loves that photo. Our tennis boosters. What is the role of our booster club? Fundraising, apparel orders, community service, senior gifts, snacks, water. Promote the CA tennis program. Basically, they do a phenomenal job helping the coaches, helping the players make the season as enjoyable as possible. It's all the extras, snacks, the water, raising funds for indoor tennis, although this past year that hasn't happened, obviously, due to COVID. But in normal years, we were able to do a lot more things thanks to the tennis boosters. Our officers, currently the boys' co-presidents, are Holly Bond and Karen Karowski, who, like I've said, have done a tremendous job the past few years with the boys' program, including organizing clothing orders, the warm-up shirts, snacks, senior gifts, banners, things of that nature. Treasurer, thank you, Dawn Cowdery, for agreeing to take this role. You're taking over from Maria Bucci, who has done a phenomenal job the last 3 years. A lot of work goes into this role, obviously, the tax codes and money and all of that. So it's a super important role, and we thank both Dawn and Maria for taking that on. But we need volunteers. Holly and Karen both have senior boys, and I'm sure they're going to be moving on, although they're welcome to stay. So if any of you are interested in taking a leadership position and have some ideas or might be interested in leading the boys booster club, we will take any volunteers. Or if you don't want a role of that magnitude, you just want to help out, like I want to be in charge of snacks or maybe clothing order, community service, anything like that, we would greatly appreciate any help. Okay, new for 2021. It's really the boys 2021. For all of you, you're probably very familiar with all the COVID rules and protocols. Very similar to what we have to use in school. Athlete safety, practice and match protocols. So 6 feet when possible, masks at all time. Hand sanitizer is highly recommended and encouraged. Athletes, obviously, no sharing of food or water. Bring your own mask, sanitizer, food, water. There's not going to be any more water coolers. It has to be individually bottled or your own water bottle. Transportation, I'm discouraging, it's not against school policy or anything, but I'm discouraging any sort of carpooling, just that because we've had some instances this year where we've had COVID spread among students, and that's happened in a car, different families carpooling together. I know transportation is an issue, but if possible, you're transporting other players than your family members, please encourage wearing the masks even though you're in a car. Spectators, as of right now, it's going to be the same as it's been in the fall and winter, only 2 spectators per player, and you will be getting a lanyard, and you must have the lanyard. This is whether you go to an away match or one of our home matches, you will not be admitted to the courts without that lanyard. And obviously all spectators and players must observe social distancing and mask wearing guidelines at all times. Obviously, it's, last year was a heartbreak for all of us. We didn't get a season, and I want to make sure we do everything in our power this year so that doesn't repeat. All the other sports, fall, winter, have had at least some season. Might have been shortened, but tennis, boys tennis, baseball, lacrosse, all the spring sports didn't have any season last year. So we want to make sure that this year goes off as smoothly as possible. We don't have to shorten the season or quarantine or anything like that. So I might be a little bit more strict when it comes to this than what the school mandates or maybe families, but I just want to make sure that we can get this season in its entirety. Program expectations. I hope you can all read that. Just kidding. Hang on one second. All right, here are our program expectations and guidelines. You all have received this document, so you can read it word for word if you'd like. I am just going to highlight a few of the items. Captains, we'll talk about that with the team. Varsity letters. One of the things I do want to point out here is that there is a requirement that the athlete maintain or attends at least 90% of all practices and matches. That doesn't mean they get kicked off the team if they can't maintain that. We're very flexible, but in order to earn a letter, there has to be minimum guidelines. That is one of them I just wanted to point out moving forward. MVP and other team awards we'll discuss with the team. Chain of command. If you as a parent have any issues with Coach Hawkins or myself, we strongly encourage you to come right to us, whether it's after a practice, a match, Brave Square message, email. If you have any concerns, questions about the team or coaching policies, we encourage you to go to us. We're very flexible. But if that doesn't resolve the issue, then we would just ask that you respect the chain of command and bring your concerns to Mr. Simmons, which would be the next in the chain of command. Selections or cuts, we won't be making any. Transportation, this goes back to what I said previously. I would strongly discourage transporting other players than your son. It is possible to do if you want to bring your son's friend home from a match. A form needs to be filled out, needs to be signed by an administrator and myself. But in this time, I would just discourage that. But that's just me. Playing time. For those of you, mainly probably at the JV level, that are not quite sure how tennis works, it's a ladder-based sport. So what we've been doing all week is playing what we call challenge matches, and we try to establish a ladder. So a ranking basically of 1 through however many are on the team. And your playing position is determined by where you are on that ladder. So if you're the best player on the team, you're going to play first singles. Second best player will play second singles, so on and so forth. Now, in Monroe County, we play varsity for sure, JV for the most part, 4 singles and 3 doubles. So that's 10 players. And the singles players have to be in order of strength, 1st through 4th, and the doubles teams have to be in order of strength, 1st through 3rd. So you can't take the best player and play that person 4th. Also, what that means is, let's say your first singles player is sick or gets an injury. You can't substitute somebody in that position. What has to happen is every player needs to move up. So second singles would go to 1st, 3rd singles to 2nd, 4th singles to 3rd, and then we would fill in at 4th singles. Our goal is to get every athlete a match, whether it's non-scoring called exhibition, against another opponent. But unfortunately, some teams don't have as many players as we do, or time just does not allow. But that's our goal, and my goal as a varsity coach is to get every player at least 1 match. The hard part about tennis is, like I said, we play 10 players, and you can't substitute in and then substitute out. So if you start the match at 4 singles, you have to finish that match at 4 singles. If you get injured during the way, then we have to forfeit that point. So that makes tennis a little bit more challenging. Missed practices and matches. Again, Coach Hawkins and I are both very flexible. We just ask, as soon as you know that your son is not going to be there, either you or your son just reach out to us, send us a Brave Square message, an email saying, hey, Johnny's sick today, he's not going to be in school, or, Luke sprained an ankle in PE this morning, he can't make it to practice. Whatever it is, we would just like to know as soon as you know, so we can adjust the starting lineup for a match or our practice plans that particular day. My email is there, and Coach Hawkins is as well. And then obviously there's also Brave Square. Match expectations. So tennis is a little bit unusual in that it's both a team and an individual sport. Your son will play an individual match. So if your son is playing 3rd singles, he plays a match and he wins or loses. But the team match is composed of all 7. So Canandaigua can win 5-2, we can lose 3-4, but there's 7 points played. So not only is your son playing an individual match, but it's part of a larger team match. So unlike some other individual sports where maybe the player can leave as soon as he's done, we require that all athletes stay until the final point has been played, and that's of all matches. So if your son plays first doubles, he goes on and he's done in 30 minutes, but the team is still playing, we require that those athletes in first doubles to stay for the end of the match, because we are trying to encourage not only camaraderie, teamsmanship, but we want them to support their teammates that are still playing. Get connected. Brave Square, obviously I think you're all very familiar with that and all on Brave Square already. I don't really need to go into that. The website. All right, this is very important for accessing the schedules. The live schedules, the schedules that change up to the minute, can only be found at that website. So let me show you real quick how to access that. All right, so if you go to that website, this is the district website for boys tennis. You're going to see these tabs, varsity, JV, modified. And the roster hasn't been updated yet. That will be shortly. But click here for the boys varsity tennis schedule. If you click on that, it brings up a schedule that is up to date. So if Marcia or Jim make a change, it's updated on here within the second. So here you can see the boys varsity spring schedule. If you go back to that page and click on the JV tab, click here for the boys JV tennis schedule, that will bring up the JV schedule. And like I said, all changes are made here in real time. So my recommendation is that you bookmark this on your phone, on your computer, wherever you access it. And when there's changes made to the match schedule, they'll be reflected here. Whether they're reschedules, whether it's location, rainouts. Obviously, we're going to have some rainouts. So that'll get reflected here and changes will be made instantly. Also, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, social media, we are on there, and I am going to do a better job of tweeting and Instagramming and updating this. But one thing that you can do if you want help, if you have any photos that you take maybe during a match or during practice, or I'd be glad to, you can text them to me, you can email them to me, and I'll upload them to social media. I'd like obviously to get the word out. Just in general, I'm not much of a social media person, but I know it's a great way to promote the program. So anything that you guys, any ideas that you guys have, I would be up for hearing for sure. Online schedules we just talked about. So let's go back here. Final thoughts. First of all, we need to appreciate this season. Last year we didn't have one. And like I said, I'm going to do everything in my power this year to make sure that we get this season in its entirety. The seniors, for the seniors especially, this will be their last high school sports season, so we want to make sure that it is a good one and a memorable one. We want to be positive, except for COVID, of course. We talked a little bit about the boys yesterday, or to the boys about this yesterday. We're playing a game, we're outside, we're having fun, hanging out with your friends. I know there's a little bit of pressure with, challenge matches, and tennis is a little unique in that regard. But just be glad you're out there, have fun, enjoy the weather, except when it's snowing. And then, of course, we're all going to need to be flexible. Coaches, parents, athletes, things are going to come up, rain, hopefully not, but, maybe COVID, maybe quarantines. So, and obviously schoolwork on top of all of that as well. We'll all be as flexible as we can, make sure this season is an enjoyable one. Questions. Here's a question. In this photo, which one of those is not like the other? This is like from one of our optional practices early in the year. Who can answer that? You get 5 bonus points. All right, guys, I'm going to go back to the Zoom meeting now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you momentarily.